and today I'm going to show you how you can use Google Analytics to find out whether your channels are actually being grouped effectively and correctly, and how to also fix that if they're not. For starters, we're going to go to analytics.google.com/analytics, and then we're going to make sure that we're in the right Google Analytics for property using the top menu bar section. We're then going to look for the report. So the most of you're going to have the lifecycle menu, but if you have business objectives, that will be your menu. They're pretty much similar. So for business objectives, yours will be under here. We're going to go to traffic acquisition. Once we land here, you can see that we've got this beautiful new line graph with all these colored lines, which is a new feature that Google Analytics has added, because before they were all very the same, which was very hard to see. So if you scroll down, you'll notice that you've got different channel buckets here. For example, you've got the direct channel bucket, which is pretty much the everything else. It's usually when Google can't detect because it's an old browser, or it's changing from a secure URL to a non-secure. They can be the reasons. Or if someone just simply bookmarks, so saves your website into their browser or their computer, or just directly populates your website into that sphere. It is also known to be where dark social happens. If people send a message through Facebook Messenger or through WhatsApp and they send a link to your website, then that can also land in the direct bucket. Now, for the purpose of channel groups, you'll notice here that there is something called Session Primary Channel Group. So that's the default channel group. So if you haven't changed your channel groups yet or tweaked it, however, if you decide to change the channel group rules, then of course you have to make sure that the primary one is the one that you're after, or you would select a different group within here. So direct is something that we can't really look into when it comes to channel groups, because we don't really know its source. But these other channel buckets, such as organic search, organic social, referral, unassigned, etc., are of interest to us because we can detect and check if the channel groups are working effectively or not. For example, with organic search, what we can do is type in organic search into here. And then what that will do is essentially filter out in our window everything else. So it's only going to look at organic search. We then want to use the plus button here and go to traffic source. And then we want to go session source. So this will tell us the visitor's source. So in here, you can see that Google is organic search, which is correct. ChatGPT is organic search. Ecosia, which is environmental friendly version of Google by a competitor, is search. Bing and Yandex, etc. When you look in here, if you find something that you would not group as organic search, then you can note that down and get your notepad out, or even your digital notes, and just make a note of, for example, with chatgpt.com, I actually don't want that to be bucketed as organic search. I want to be bucketing that as something entirely different, particularly AI or something on those lines, if you want them to be separate. But if you don't, then that's okay. But if you find something in here which is appearing as a session source, which is not organic search, again, make a note of it. The next one we're going to look at is organic socials. Again, we're going to do here is press enter once we've entered the social component, and then we can add the plus bar. Now, sometimes you can leave the plus bar in, other times it plays up, so see how you go. So in here, I can see that organic social, we've got Facebook coming up. Facebook, there's a few variations of Facebook, same with Instagram. You'll notice the main one is m.facebook.com, which is the mobile environment, versus the desktop one, which is facebook.com. Got LinkedIn, you've got Bitly in here. So Bitly is a link shortener. it might not actually be representative of organic socials. Again, we'll make a note of that one and say, hey, I don't want that to be part of organic social. Let's look at something else now. What about referral? So if we type in referral, we're going to get websites that are bringing us traffic. So you'll notice that before organic social had ChatGPT, but so does referral. So we only want them to bucket it into one sphere. Otherwise, we're not really seeing the data correctly. So that's an obvious fix there. We have mail.google.com in here. So an email program, perhaps it's ourselves. We've got Asana, a few things down here. So if you found a website that essentially was bringing you traffic that you think actually is organic social or another channel group, or you want to define it differently, then also make a note of that. For example, if you do a lot of influencer content and you want to group that together as a channel group, then that's a really good way to do that and to keep it okay as part of that. That is, and by doing some hygiene factors. And this isn't a once-off task and then leave it. It's a good idea to do this every year or so. If you are a high traffic site and you really rely on the data, then I would say you would want to do it at least every 6 months so that you can make sure that the channel groups are working effectively for you. Because at the end of the day, when you're looking at stats, sessions, engagement rate, etc., and you're basing it on channel, if it's not actually grouping those correctly, then you're not getting that accurate. Once you've made a note of all the things that you want to improve with your channel groups or create, it's then time to actually go and do that. In order to do that, you just have to scroll to the gear icon and go to the admin section. Once you're in the admin section, you want to scroll down and you want to find data display and then channel groups. When you land here, you'll notice that there is a default channel group. And so you can click on it and have a look at all the rules that are made up of this. So organic social, and you'll notice that with this one, it's pretty standard in terms of default information. If you want to create a new channel group, what you can do is you can actually copy to create new, or you can just press create new channel group. If you are not an advanced user and you haven't mapped out everything that you want, essentially I would recommend you just do copy to create new. Once you do that, you're going to name the channel group as well as the description if you like. And then within here, you set the priority in terms of what Google should consider the most important in terms of your channel list. And then within each of those rules, within direct, you're going to leave that as is. But for these other items, such as paid social, etc., essentially you're going to open the channel details and define what that is. So you can see here that the default channel group match exactly, but you can also add another condition. So for example, you've got the source here. So the source matches exactly or contains, and then you can pop in what you want in there. So what you saw before in that other window, you're going to pop that information in, click apply, and then apply that to the rule to create your channel group. Making sure that you only apply the rule within that one channel section. Otherwise, you'll end up with duplicates, which doesn't actually marry up. So that is how we find out if our channels are being bucketed correctly, how to obviously fix them, and how we can create our own channel groups as well, which is a really useful tool considering we didn't have as much control as before. Hopefully you found that helpful. Stay tuned for more videos. Thanks so much.